Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Spoilercast.
Spoilercast.
For Game of Thrones episode,
Spoilercast.
Breaker of Chains.
Season 4.
Whoa.
Raw.
Oh.
Explosions. I don't know why I had explosions. That was my, announcer voice for, monster truck rallies right there.
Hell yeah.
Sunday. See Game of Thrones.
Well, Daenerys can bring the truckazilla.
She could bring the truckazilla.
Okay, she kind of did bring the truckazilla.
What an episode, man.
Yeah.
What an episode. We saw a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. After last week's, kind of very one place, one event,
Right.
build. This was definitely back to more we got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, we gotta see what everyone else was doing here during all this time.
A lot of good moments. One moment in particular, I guess we'll start with that bothered the shit out of me, was Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they kind of had sex in front of their dead son's body.
Well, and is it weird for me to say that's the part that bothers me the least about it? Though what bothers me is that Jaime basically raped her in front of their son's corpse.
Yeah. It wasn't, I don't know, it was that she was definitely saying, no, this isn't right.
Yeah, he forced himself on her. So,
right.
It's
But
rape.
I don't think that she's not taking it as it was rape, you know what I mean?
I don't know, man. She was saying no the whole time.
Right, but I don't think she's not going to be like, he raped me, and
Well, of course not, because she doesn't want anyone to know they've ever had sex ever. But that doesn't make it not rape.
Right, no, that's true. But if
somebody rapes a girl who's drunk and passed out and she can't remember, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right, but she would do everything in her power to not be around that person at all. And it doesn't, from what it looks like, it doesn't seem... You know what I mean? Cersei has the power. She'd be like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk to him. I want him nowhere near me, keep him away from me, even if she didn't tell them why. You know what I mean? I don't think it was rape as much as... Because I think she wanted it, but she didn't want it there. But the way they played it and the way it was written, it did seem like he straight up raped her. But
I think it doesn't matter. No matter, it's straight up rape. I mean, a husband can still rape his wife if he forces herself and she doesn't want to have sex.
That's true. But it's not that she didn't want to have. I don't think it was that she didn't want to have sex. She didn't want to have sex there.
It doesn't matter if she doesn't. If it's just there. If she says no at any point, then it's rape. It's pretty black and white. If she's doesn't want to have sex with somebody and then sex is forced upon her, regardless of where they are and who's doing it, it's rape.
Right, and no, by definition it is. I just don't think that it's to the point that you're thinking. I don't think that she was like, I don't want to have sex with you ever again. This is wrong, get away from me. I think it was, we shouldn't do this here. But then in the throes of ecstasy, she let it happen. Because like you said, in the book, that didn't happen at all. So,
well, in the books they had sex, but it was definitely consensual. It was written as consensual in the books, and it was like what you said. They both kind of found comfort in each other and just let go. So I don't understand why they changed it for the episode, because it's making Jaime look like a fucking asshole.
Right. So I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why they.
I don't think it was. I just disagree. I don't think it was full on rape. I think she wanted it. She just didn't want it there. That's what I think. That's the way I came off of it as. I didn't come off of it as she was just, because she was fighting him, but she wasn't fighting him. You know what I mean? She wasn't yelling for help. She wasn't.
Well, of course not, because it would ruin their family if anyone found out. But I think she would assume that her brother and lover would not do that to her. But yeah, I mean, she didn't call attention to it, just like a lot of rape victims don't, because they're afraid.
I don't think she's afraid, though. We'll have to wait and see what happens, because next week, if she doesn't act, because she's like, if I asked you to go find Cersei and take her head from me in the previews, would you do it?
Sansa?
Yeah, Sansa, not Cersei. Sansa's head from me, would you do it? It doesn't seem like, it just depends on how she acts from this point on. And my guess is that they're probably going to leave it how she acted in the books, where if it was something they found in each other, it wasn't that she was, raped. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to do that to her character. I think it was, like I said, I feel like it was more that she didn't want to do it next to her dead son's body. You know what I mean? I don't think it was that she didn't want to have sex with him, because I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I don't know how she's going to react or how she's going to react in the TV show. We'll have to wait and see.
Right, yeah. Well, and the scene before that with Tywin and Tommen especially was very enlightening. I like that scene a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We can already see Tywin's kind of starting to mold the future king.
Well, he knows that he needs to not let his mother be in his ear as much as she was with Joffrey, and I think that's why. It was a really powerful scene where he was talking to him, and then he led him out away from his mother and his brother. In that scene, it spoke volumes, because Tywin knows that he can't let the same thing that happened to him rule like his brother did. That's what I was trying to say. So I think he wants to mold him in his image instead of his mother's image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even though Tywin can be, pretty shitty to people, that's definitely the best thing for the kingdom at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We don't need another Joffrey.
Yeah, and he said that exactly. He said, he went through all the past kings and what they did and why they weren't good kings.
Yeah, including Robert. Right. And it was kind of weird. It's like he's sitting there with Cersei grieving, and he's basically taking shots at Robert and Joffrey in front of both of her, Cersei and Tommen. Right. And it's like, wow, that's awkward. It's like, thanks, Grandpa. But he's right. I mean,
he is definitely right. They need a wise king. They need someone that's willing. Yeah. To listen and not be.
I feel bad for the people who live in those Seven Kingdoms, because it's like the last time they had a good king was the one before Aemon, really, the Mad King. So it's like it's been a while.
It has been a while
since they had a competent ruler that actually had the people's interests at heart. So, Tommen's a nice kid. He's not. So, for whatever reason, I guess being the second son, he was kind of left alone, so he's not fucking screwed up. Right. Like Joffrey was.
He wasn't the king. He wasn't.
Well, Joffrey was always being groomed, and I think.
To be the king, yeah.
The problem was people that were grooming him were fucking clueless. Right. So Tommen, it's like he's starting to get groomed now, but he's already kind of. A young adult almost. He's almost a teenager.
Exactly, yeah. He's lived his life without having to be pampered. And
well, no, he's lived his life being pampered and not having to ever have responsibility. So it's like, but he's also...
He's never been told, you will be king for the last 5 years.
He's grown up being able to kind of be more, empathic and have more of a gentle heart towards people.
Right,
so.
And actually be a child, Joffrey was told, you're going to be king. Yeah. Live it up, you will be king.
And Tommen probably actually had a childhood.
Right, exactly.
Although, he's the youngest of the three. His sister's older than he is, but she's off in Dorne, living la vida loca.
Right. And speaking of Dorne...
Yeah, Prince Oberyn, once again, just doing his thing.
Him and Tywin, you said it while we were watching it, him and Tywin's interaction, the show could be just that, and it would be interesting and awesome.
It could be like a spin-off show of like just a series of conversations with Tywin and Oberyn.
So Tywin went and found Oberyn at the brothel that he was staying at.
Or I think Oberyn just lives now.
Where he just pretty much lives now. And basically he was like, yeah, I got this proposition for you. And he wants him to sit and be one of the 3 judges in Tyrion's trial.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Tyrion's gonna see trial. He's being blamed for the death.
Yeah, he's being.
By the way,
right. If you didn't get that from the last episode,
yeah. If you didn't understand that was what was going down, yeah.
He has a trial for the death of the king, so that he killed the king. So yeah, he was asked to sit as one of the 3 judges on it, and the other ones is Tywin and
Mace Tyrell, Marjorie's father,
right. So that's going to be the 3 judges. And he basically said, if you sit and be a judge, I'll give you a place on the High Council.
Yeah, and then also, I'll arrange a meeting with you in the mountain. Right. So basically, Tywin's willing to sacrifice the mountain to this guy to...
Get Dorne
to get Dorne as an ally. So, and like Tyrion said when he heard about it, he's like, well, my father never was one to waste a family tragedy. Right. So... And it's smart. Tywin's very shrewd. He knows that Oberyn's primary reason for being in the city is that he wants a piece of the mountain. Right. So he'll give it to him in exchange for getting what he wants, which is a new ally in Dorne.
Right. He said, what was it? We can't be the 7 kingdoms until we bring Dorne into the fold.
Yeah. And he mentioned the old history that Dorne never fell to the Targaryens, and hey, there's a Targaryen with 3 dragons across the ocean, so we probably could use Dorne.
Right, so I'm interested to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I just wonder where Dorne's loyalties actually lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would see, for what you glean from their conversation, that they haven't really been part of the Seven Kingdoms since, you know, the Targaryen reign ended.
Right.
Like, they haven't been at war, but it seems pretty obvious that they've kind of just been on doing their own thing, and they kind of, everybody's left each other alone.
Right.
So it makes you wonder where Dorne's loyalties might actually lie, if they haven't, because they did race to rejoin the rest of the kingdoms, or didn't really seem concerned with the fact they weren't being invited to the capital, or being made alliances with or part of the council or anything. They really seemed pretty content just to kind of hang back for like 30 years.
Yeah,
and not cause any trouble, but also not go looking for trouble or try to nobody really went after them either.
Right. So, well, just because he's sitting on the High Council, they've got a Dorne, doesn't mean that Dorne's going to be, as a whole, willing to come back in. So we'll have to see where Dorne actually stands. Yeah. After all this is said and done.
We mentioned Tyrion. He's in jail.
Right. He is imprisoned at the moment.
At least he's got a prison cell with windows. I mean,
and not a giant window like when he was held in the first season.
Yeah, it's windows that have walls around them. And he's not in one of the what they call the black cells, which are what like Ned was in, where he had no light. Right. So Tyrion's getting treated a little better than Ned Stark, which is surprising, considering Ned Stark basically didn't do anything. Right. So interesting that. But we had a visit from his squire Podrick. And who brought
Podrick's the man.
Yeah, God, he brought him like candles and parchment and quills and cheese.
Yeah, and I think bread. Yeah, he had wine, but they found the wine.
Yeah, they found the wine. Yeah, he's like pulling stuff out every like little possible cavity on his costume.
But they're basically not letting Tyrion talk to anybody. Yeah, except for Podrick right now.
Yeah, Bronn's under investigation. Tyrion was gonna try to see Jaime, and. Then Podrick told him that he was offered by some man he didn't know a night ship if he would testify that Tyrion bought the poison that killed Joffrey. So basically, everybody's trying to set up Tyrion for this and
for the fall. Right?
Yeah, Tyrion basically told Podrick, he's like, you should take the night ship and then get out of King's Landing. Right. And basically told him like, this is farewell. I'm not gonna let you die for me. So if I have to die to know that you're going to live, then I'll be fine dying. Right. So it was a really touching moment between the two of them.
It really was. As he was leaving, he stopped him and said, "You were the most loyal squire I've ever known," or whatever. Yeah. So it's interesting to see. I don't know how this trial's going to go. I really don't want to see Tyrion die. You've read the books, so you kind of know what's going to happen already. Kind of. But, it's really looking not in his favor at the moment. So.
Oh, no. I mean, you remember season 1 when he was in the Eyrie? And he had that fucking kangaroo court? And he got his way out of that.
That's true.
How did he get his way out of that?
Well, that's why we also got to talk about what happened before with Cersei and Jaime. Where they were talking before they had sex next to the dead body.
Before she was raped.
She asked him to kill Tyrion. Yeah, she didn't want a trial because he would weasel his way out of it. Yeah, and she wanted him just to go and kill him.
Jaime looked genuinely offended at the notion.
Right, he's my brother.
To his credit, but then of course he spoiled that goodwill like a minute later. Right. I don't know. That whole scene bothers me just because it was rewritten in a way to make Jaime look like such a villain when clearly that's not where his character is anymore.
Right, that's nowhere near where his character was after everything that he went through.
Yeah, so that bothers me for a lot of reasons. That, it was rewritten from a kind of weird but like consensual thing where they just sought comfort in each other to something really twisted and disgusting. Right. But I guess this show, they don't ever want to keep things to be too normal.
Right. They want to leave everyone feeling off at all times, I think.
And speaking of off, the Hound and Arya they came across a little farmstead. They were on the land just kind of watering their horses. And Arya, using her skills that she learned from Jaqen H'ghar, smooth-talked her way into getting themselves a roof over their heads and some meal, rabbit stew. And then, of course, the Hound's doing everything in his power to fuck it up by being the usual miserable cunt he is.
Right.
And then you think it's turning around there towards the end when you find, the farmer's like, well, I have some silver the bandits haven't found, I pay for honest work if you can help us, around the farm. And then the Hound's like, sure. And then, of course, the next morning, the Hound is, basically attacked and tortured the guy to get all the silver. And then Arya flips out on him. And he says, look, they're going to be dead by winter because they're weak. Dead man doesn't need silver. Which, yes, that's completely accurate, but god damn it. Why are you quit being such an asshole?
Well, yeah, then Arya's like, well, you don't know that. And he's like, how many beheaded Starks will it take you to realize that, or whatever?
Yeah, or, quit to realize that being naive and being soft is not going to, And he's right. I mean, if anyone understands what it takes to survive in this world, it's the Hound.
It is the Hound, right.
And, I think it's one of those things Arya maybe needs to hear these things, because everybody that's been her teacher before has kind of taught her with more of a softer hand.
Right.
From Syrio to her father to Jon Snow to Jaqen and Hakkar. Nobody ever really...
It's like, this is how the world works.
Yeah, no one ever really challenged her kind of worldview or her preconceptions.
Right.
The Hound is doing that on a daily basis here.
Right.
That, especially now that she's getting older, she's going to be a target for a lot of nasty things. So I think because for whatever reason he's got this weird noble streak when it comes to young girls, like between Sansa and her. Right. That while he's being a complete shit, he's doing it for her best interest. Right. Yeah, and honestly, he's like, he doesn't see that farmer as anything other than just somebody that's going to be dead, and then he's going to have some silver buried that no one will ever get to. Right. So he might as well die poor. Right. Because fuck it.
Well, yeah, a dead person can't spend silver.
The strong survive, and if you can't defend yourself, if you make the way with the Hound sees it is you make yourself a victim, then and a repeated victim from listening to him talk, then fuck it. Right. He's like, I want to live.
We also got to see where Sansa actually went after she left the Purple Wedding, as I hear they're calling it.
Yes, because the color of the poison, purple.
It's purple.
So I wonder when we're going to get a blue wedding then, or a white wedding, for that matter. I mean, shit.
Sorry, I can't.
So Tyrion and Sansa's wedding, what color would that be?
I don't know.
What's the color of shame?
Does shame have a color?
Most emotions have a color associated with them. Anger is red. Purple usually is like nobility, but I don't know about that one. So right. I don't know. Maybe kind of like a pukish yellow green. Maybe. Or maybe just like a really drab gray.
Drab gray.
Yeah. Like a
pale brown.
Like an overcast sky. The gray wedding. That's what that was.
The gray wedding. But so Sansa, when she was taken away from it by
Sir Dantos the Fool.
Dantos the Fool.
Which, of course, as you saw, I loved during the episode, I'm like, Dantos, you fool! I'm constantly shaking my fist because it entertains me.
They basically ran through the city to a rowboat. Yeah. And rowed him out into and he rowed her out into another ship.
Yeah, out in the harbor.
Out on the harbor. And it turned out being Littlefinger. Yeah. So Littlefinger swept her away.
And then basically told her he was responsible for the king's death.
Right.
So, there you go.
I mean, that's
mystery solved, everybody.
It was weird, because I was talking to my cousin about it, and said they never really say who killed him until way later on. But then I was like, everything that was going through this episode, so I'm like, so it was Littlefinger that killed him?
Well, Littlefinger didn't actually kill him. He just gave instructions to people. That's what he said. Sir Dantos was just following instructions for gold. He didn't actually care about you, Sansa. He just wanted gold. Right. And then, the necklace, he reveals the necklace that was something that Littlefinger had crafted, weeks ago.
Right, it was made of glass or whatever, and they ended up killing
Sir Dantos. Yeah, what do you say? Gold buys silence for a while. Might buy silence, but a bolt to the heart guarantees it.
Guarantees it, yeah. But a bolt will guarantee it.
Womp womp. Sir Dantos, you fool.
Dantos is dead, so now we have Sansa with Littlefinger on his ship.
And clearly he's got plans.
And obviously,
he said he was taking her home. So God knows what that means.
Right. So maybe he's going to the Fingers. It's possible.
No, that's his home. Yeah. Of course, like we said in the first Spoilercast, he's been off courting Lysa.
Right.
The Queen of the Vale, or the Lady of the Vale. So
maybe he's going to the Vale. It's possible taking her to the
Vale.
Vale.
When have you known Littlefinger to ever fail at anything he tries to do?
Not very often, so...
Yeah, I have a feeling Sansa's going to get to meet her aunt pretty soon here.
Well, yeah. What else happened in this episode? Jon Snow. Jon Snow and the Black Keep.
And then, of course, there was the never-ending Samwell and Gilly.
He took her. Yeah, he took her down south to the brothel.
Yeah, like that town.
Yeah, the town
that's right there by the wall. Yeah.
And took her to the brothel to leave her there, and she was hurt. She seemed like she was hurt.
Yeah, she was genuinely upset. Like I think he doesn't. He always sells himself so short that he doesn't see that there's something there.
Right.
On her behalf, like he's used to being mocked by people so much that he doesn't. When she was actually legitimately thought he was this brave, noble warrior, and he doesn't see it at all because he doesn't see himself that way.
Because everyone else is putting him down.
Sam the Slayer.
Sam the Slayer. Yeah.
Never mind the fact that he's the first person in 1,000 years to kill a White Walker.
Right.
Never mind that. But she was the only one that saw it. So, and no one's going to believe her either, because she's a wildling girl, and she's probably crazy. Right,
they call her the wildling, and you like that? And she's like, it makes me seem dangerous.
Yeah. So, she seems to have a pretty good head on her shoulders, to be honest.
Right. So, her and her baby are now at the brothel.
Yeah.
Sam went back. Well, I don't know. They didn't show him back.
No, he goes back. He's like you said, I can't run away from the wall.
And now the wildling party that is north of the wall, south of the wall, is south of the wall, and the cannibals are now attacking villagers.
They attack the Shire.
They attack the Shire, basically, yes.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of little houses with grass on the roofs and everything, and it was all really peaceful and pastoral. Literally, within.
We're talking about potatoes.
Yeah, you can see the wall from there. So it's pretty far north, but it looked like it was the greenest fucking place in all of Westeros. And then the skinheads and the wildlings showed up and killed everybody. They sent the one kid running off to warn them of their arrival.
Well, they said that the reason why they did is they want to draw them out. Yeah. They want to draw them out of the keep.
It was nice to see that even though Alistair Thorne's a complete piece of shit, that he was smart enough to understand what they're trying to do, and then that Jon was also smart enough to understand what's going on, and that they didn't fall for the obvious trap.
Right. So they were planning on staying, but they got to go back north because the
traders at Craster's Keep are up there still.
Right.
And as soon as the wildlings get a hold of them, they're gonna divulge
the numbers. Yeah.
And divulge all kinds of secrets about Castle Black that they don't want them to know.
Right.
So they're because Gren he made it back. Him and the one other guy, can't remember his name now, but. Dolores Ed. They were being held captive. Either were let go or escaped and made it back to the Castle Black, and let them know that the traders are still there at Craster's. They're running whatever they're using it as their base. And so John's like, we have to go kill them
because if the wildlings do get them, they'll know their actual numbers in Black Keep. So
it looks like now that's they're being pulled in two directions. They have to defend from the south. But then they have to send somebody in
to the
north
to
take care of the traders. So pretty crazy stuff. But I did like there was that one little scene with the kid came to Castle Black and John's kind of standing over him. And it was one of those things here's this kid who's an orphan now, and now John's watching over him. There was a little bit of symmetry there.
Right. It's interesting to see if that character goes and does anything else. If he joins the Black Brotherhood, or
well, he's a boy now, so I mean, even if he did, it would be he'd be years. So.
Oh, right. Well, he could still live at Castle Black and squire.
Yeah, provided that the wildlings don't overrun everything,
right, and kill everyone.
So there's 100. It's hard to think, but there's 100,000 wildlings,
right?
including like giants with mammoths, and like there's cannibals and skinwalkers, and they got.
Right.
I mean, there's a fucking crazy batshit D&D army coming down on the wall.
Even Johnson, was it Jonathan? Even if each of us killed 100 wildlings, we'd still fall or whatever.
Yeah, there's 100 people at Castle Black, and each of them killed 100 people. That would still only be like a tenth of all the wildlings.
Right.
But the thing is, wildlings, it's not just 100,000 people. Isn't the army? It's everybody. So that's all the families and stuff that are coming too, because everybody's getting the fuck out of the north because it's getting pretty bad up there.
Right. So we get to the big one that I thought of the episode.
The best part of the episode.
Seems like, and I'm not sure, actually I am sure because it happens in the episode, Daenerys has reached Marine.
Oh yeah. Does seem that way.
She has. And she reached it with extreme prejudice. That's the way to put it. She
commenced the psychological warfare already.
They sent out their champion when they got there.
They sent out some champion who's just some dumbass on his horse, and then he pisses in front of the Unsullied, like, look at me, I have a wiener. And then he's taunting him, talking about how like they can't even fuck their own asses. And then Daenerys kind of sits there, looks at the guy, and she's like, okay, I need a champion. And of course everybody volunteers, and she turns away everybody except for Dario, who I'd like to amend. I was wrong. That is a new actor. I looked at the wrong IMDb file. Like I looked at it. It said 3 episodes. I'm like, okay, well, it's only been like it was like episode 1 of that season. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, it is a different actor, which I didn't bother. Obviously, doesn't bother me at all. But
yeah. It wasn't that big. He didn't have such a big role in the last season.
Yeah,
that it was like imperative that it's the same guy.
Yeah, it's not the same as like replacing Daenerys from season to season. Exactly. So, but yeah, so Dario takes up the challenge to be her champion, and the guy's got like his lance. And he's charging on a horse, and Darius is like, "I got this." Everybody step back. He pulls out like his throwing knife, kisses it. Throws it, hits the horse in the eye.
And the horse goes down.
And then the guy, is trying to get up from after spilling off the horse, and then he takes out his curved sword and just decapitates the fucker before he even gets to his feet. And then he pulls out his cock and pisses on the ground pointing at the city.
Right.
Meanwhile, everybody in the city is like, who was all cheering on their champions, is like,
what the fuck?
We are so fucked.
And their archers shot at him, and they were out of range, right outside of range or whatever.
Yeah, and he just like a little bow to them, walks back, swaggering like the motherfucker he is.
And then Daenerys had her speech.
Yeah, she gives a nice rousing speech to all the slaves. She's like, I'm not talking to the masters, I'm talking to the slaves. I went to every city. I went to Astapor, I freed all their slaves. I went to Yunkai, I freed all their slaves, and now I'm here. And then she gets a row of like 12 catapults with these barrels, launches them at the city. People are like, "Oh my god!" Ducking.
Yeah, I thought that they were logs when they first fought. I was like, "She's launching logs. She doesn't want to kill the slaves."
Yeah,
I was like, "It doesn't really make any sense."
They were hollow barrels, filled with slave collars that had been opened.
Right,
like they were unlocked, they were empty, and then all of a sudden you have all the slaves of the city that see where these barrels hit, and they're picking up the collars and looking at the collar and then looking at their masters, and every master they basically shit their pants. Right, and then the episode ends.
That was the very end of the episode. I think it's I don't know if they're going to try to. They're probably not going to try to sack the city. From what we saw in the preview for next week, there were like scribbles on the wall. It was like "kill the masters," and stuff like that. So she's getting the unrest before she tries to sack the city. And I think that's perfect for such a huge city.
Yeah, no, it's. I just love the fact that they're letting her continue to just be this badass. Like she still has, she's like still a person, and like she has her more vulnerable moments. But when it comes time for business, she takes care of business.
Oh yeah, she knows what she's doing right now.
And there's a reason why she's always my favorite character in the books. And it's the moments like that where you're just like this. You understand why the Targaryens could conquer 7 kingdoms and unite them. Right. You understand why they're such a big fucking deal. When you see her step up and give that speech, just that force of personality, and it draws you in. You understand why the Targaryens are such a big deal. Right. Like, the beginning of the first season, you didn't get it. Like, you didn't understand why the Targaryens were such a big deal, because Viserys was not a big deal. Right. Daenerys is a big fucking deal. So I'm always excited to see what's going to happen with her next.
What do you think is going to happen in the next episode? Obviously, there's going to be some unrest in Marine. Hopefully, we'll see more of what's going to happen with Littlefinger, where he's going to be taking Sansa.
I feel like we're going to see not Tyrion's trial. We're going to start to see. I think we're going to see Jaime and Tyrion meet up and.
Hopefully, yeah.
Jaime. Jaime's going to visit him. If Tyrion asks whether or not Cersei wants him to or not, whether she's busy asking for Jaime to cut off the head of every fucking person in the city,
right?
Jaime loves Tyrion with all his heart,
right? And
that he's going to want to talk to Tyrion and hear for himself what his brother has to say,
right?
So we know that I'm positive that's going to happen because that's how Jaime is, and I feel like too we're probably going to see a lot more stuff at the wall. Like that, it feels like that's just there's so much going on.
Needs to go.
Yeah, there's just so much going on there right now. And we didn't talk about it. I think one of maybe the best quieter things in the episode was Stannis with Davos.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to figure out now that Joffrey's dead how they can take advantage of the situation. And Davos gives some pretty good counsel, and Stannis listens to him obviously and. We heard Davos this episode for really the first time admit that Melisandre's magic is real and it works, but he's like, but we need soldiers.
Right.
Her magic is helping and it's great, but it's not going to win the war.
Right.
And so we saw then Davos was having his reading lesson with Stannis' daughter, Shireen, and then she gives him the idea, because they're talking about this book, which is about Braavos, the first sword, and Davos is telling the story about this one time he almost got executed by the First Order Braavos, and it's kind of like a funny story because he didn't see the difference between a pirate and a smuggler.
Right.
And then talking about the Iron Bank of Braavos and how their gold, how important their gold is to them. And then all of a sudden he gets the idea and he wants to write a letter to the bank. So maybe he's going to figure out a way to try to fund Stannis' army, or just say if they're aware that King's Landing's been borrowing so much from Braavos.
Right.
It's kind of like try to throw a monkey wrench into that.
Right. To
have the bank try to screw with the Lannisters and maybe weaken them that way. So I really like that. I like that Davos, while always being a good man and a very convicted man with conviction and being clever, is now becoming shrewd.
Right.
And I really like that.
He's becoming very shrewd and very.
And Stannis is such a hard character to get a read on. I don't hate Stannis at all. Nothing he's ever done has made me hate him, but he's not easy to like either.
Right.
So it's one of those things that's I don't hate him, but I don't necessarily like him, but I enjoy when he's on screen, and I like seeing what he's up to and getting to be around his character.
Right.
And I can see why Stannis would not be a big hit at these small council meetings back in the day when he was on the small council with Robert.
The guy that plays him very well.
Yeah, he's great.
He's very hard to get a read on, so... I think that's pretty much everything for this week. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you think is going to happen? No spoilers, please, if you've read the books. It's cheating. It's cheating if you read the book. Okay, there's a reason that I don't cheat. Right, we don't discuss what's happening
because I'm a man of honor.
But make sure you check in again next week. We try to get these up by Mondays at the latest. So, thanks again for watching, guys. I'm Todd and Dan once again.
I'm that guy, Todd.
And make sure you check out podcastdoom.com.
If you listen or you not.